And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, with another guest, the second guest on the Hey Job Picks YouTube channel, JB, my man JB, part of the Home of Fight Picks team now, pretty recently, a couple weeks ago. You can get all of his stuff.
Week 3.
Week 3? You can get all his stuff in the Home of Fight Picks Discord. It's absolutely free. I know you had a pretty good card at UFC 316, but now we're moving on to UFC Atlanta. And we got some pretty solid fights, man. For a fight night card, I would say this fight night card is up there for one of the best that we've had this year. Tell me about how you feel about the card and maybe just a little bit of a recap of UFC 316 for you. And if anybody doesn't know you, you can give them a little insight as well.
Well, as we all know, man, I was on the card. I fought early in the night. It was a tough fight against a young prospect. But no, I'm just kidding. As we all know, the inside joke is I'm Yanal Ashmu. Well, he got rinsed early in the night. I was down 10.7 units, so I'm definitely not immune to a bad night. It's happened to me plenty of times. But I wound up coming back all the way from down 11 units all the way up 10.75 units. So I reversed the night about halfway through. Waldo decision was a huge cash. Van round 3 was a huge cash. So, man, I just got to stick with the damn props. Go small on those, and I'll be doing just fine. So, yeah, it was a good week. This week I'm hyped, bro, and I appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, I mean, after last week with Lucrative, I was like, I got to just start having guests every week. It just makes it more fun so we can bounce some ideas off of each other and maybe give, two different insights into a fight. Just try to give everybody that's in the live stream and that watches after the best type of content. Because I think last week, me and Lucrative gave out some really solid reads. I mean, outside of the main event, we were both on Sean O'Malley, but he was pretty convinced on Bautista. I was giving out Gustafsson decision at plus 600 at when it was. And me being how dumb I am, I had the over 1.5. So at least I still made money on the fight, but I had the over 1.5 for a bigger bet. And I just didn't want to expose myself too much in that fight. But I missed out on Gustafsson decision. I've been saying it all week. And that one came back to haunt me. That would have been nice. We were both in agreement with Waldo. Waldo got it done as a dog as well. And I did not bet it. So there was a lot of spots last week that I had the good reads on. I just couldn't pull the trigger. And I didn't pull the trigger. And those are the ones that haunt me. But last week was not great for me as far as a betting standpoint goes. But overall, my picks as well, just straight up winners on my official picks channel or official picks video. I was 11-2. I picked 2 out of the 3 dogs that won. It's one of those. That's why I hate doing picks, man. People love to hear what you have to say about who you think's just going to win the fight. But at the end of the day, if I'm not putting money behind it, it doesn't mean anything. So I could pick those dogs, but if I don't put any money behind it, it doesn't mean anything to me. Cool, I got the pick right, but I didn't make any money from it. And if I pick a favorite and it loses, and I didn't put any money behind it, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, this is why I like doing the betting breakdown in addition to the pick stuff, because we get to bounce the betting stuff around and try to find some value. So what we normally do here, JB, is we go through, I'm going to pull this up. Right there. We go through the fights. We'll talk a little bit about the fights, and then we'll go over some of the betting odds. We're using Bet Online right now just because they're the ones that have most of the props out. Obviously, later in the week, there's going to be more options, so you're probably better off not looking at some of these prop bets and stuff. But I know you're a big prop better, so am I. So we always got to keep that in there. But let's hit some chats before we hop into it. Normally, we do bottom to top. Seems like that's the way that we've been doing, bottom of the card to the top of the card. But
I like it.
Maybe the chat wants to do something differently. Give me Gustafsson Dalby. That would be a interesting fight. Gustafsson. I don't know. Maybe Gustafsson couldn't break.
That could be a clinch fest.
Yeah. I mean, Dalby might be right in the ballpark of giving Gustafsson a good run for his money. Jorik Vartanov has been trying to get Matty to unblock him. And he's saying he's put a curse on him because Matty's been down bad the past couple months. And
that might be real. That might be real, guys.
Really could be.
You never know who you're messing with. Jorik might have some powers.
O'Malley decision with an enemy and nice 64 units. Shout out to Olajuwon Dream, always in the chat, always in like all the MMA chats. I don't know if this dude just lives on the MMA YouTube or what, but Shalom JB says from Jorik. I'm afraid that Buckley is too much for Usman. I am afraid as well. And we will definitely talk about that one. Who we got in the main event. You have to stick around towards the end of the live stream. If you're watching right now and you can't watch the whole live stream, just come back to it. And it'll be up on my channel on the live stream. We'll probably go for over an hour. I mean, do you got anywhere to be tonight? Just so we can try to how to figure out how to pace this or what?
Night, JB. I think JB's done. I'm a grandpa, bro. This is it for me. This podcast, and then I might be going to sleep. I might wake up at 3 a.m., bro. My sleep schedule is crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this live, and then I'm gonna go watch some Love Island. So if there's any Love Island fans in the chat, it's ridiculous, but I love it, dude. You ever watch Love Island or no?
I've never seen it before. What is it?
It's like a dating show. It's a huge show. But I started watching it like last year. Now me and my girl watch it all the time. It's like if you're an MMA fan, you know you love all the drama in MMA. Like you're definitely gonna love the drama in like a relationship thing. It's crazy. But Quinn Kelly watches it too. There we go.
It's always the girl, right? They get she put them on exactly.
And you'll actually look forward to it more than they will, probably, if that ever happens to you. But not watching Tough. I haven't watched Tough this year. Have you watched Tough this year?
No, I haven't watched a single episode.
Okay, yeah,
I'd be interested in it.
Yeah, it seems like they got like a fighting nerd on there.
Dana White's just more worried about promoting Power Slap than anything else, so I didn't even realize it was on. I forgot.
Yeah, I kind of forgot it was on as well, and I just don't even have the time to go watch it back. So maybe at some point, maybe in like December when there's no UFC, I'll go back and watch it. But for now, not really. Or I guess maybe when they have the finale, I'll have to go back and watch some fights. You know,
the film, right? When we got to film it, that's probably.
If we're gonna let the chat decide for you if you need to mute, I don't think you need to mute. I think it's fine. You don't need to mute because I think the background noise is fine. Unmute it so we can hear from the chat.
Right. Yeah, I just mute it every once in a blue moon.
Chat, let me know if the background noise is too much for JB, but I think it's fine. Okay, Olajuwon said it's fine. He's good. Yeah, if you need to mute, you can mute, but you don't really need to. If you feel like you're too loud or whatever, you're fine. All right, what do you say? Yeah. Should we hop into it?
Let's do it.
All right, we'll go bottom.
I love the chat, though. Shout out to the chat.
Chat's cooking right now. Hit the like button for us. We're going to start off with the first fight of the night, all right? This is one that I think is going to go one way, and I really don't see a path for Vanessa Demopoulos in this one. I'm not saying Jamey-Lyn Horth is some world beater, but, I mean, come on. She's, 5 inches taller, 7-inch reach advantage. She's going to be way bigger as far as physicality goes. Vanessa is more of a finesse. She'll have a little bit of aggression to her. She'll throw some blind volume, try to throw everything at you and get the judges on her side. But this isn't in Vegas. This isn't in Atlanta. And I just learned today that Atlanta has a pretty large strip club. I don't know if Vanessa did work at the strip club in Atlanta at any point in her life. But if she did, maybe she does have some connections. I'm going to bank on the side of no. And Jamey-Lyn Horth is probably going to be able to do what she wants to Vanessa, because Vanessa can't stuff a takedown. Not that she even really tries. She can't strike. And even if she does try to strike, she's probably going to be whiffing air because she's going to be 4 feet away from Jamey-Lyn Horth. So I think Jamey-Lyn Horth probably runs away with this one. I don't know if you have any sort of path to victory for Vanessa, but I'm finding it pretty hard to find one.
Yeah, like maybe she bonks her, but Horth is tough. She's moving up in weight class. Armbar from guard. Like, that's how she caught Suarez. I don't see it either, though, personally. She's been getting a few lucky decisions. I think, the big thing in this fight is the weight. Vanessa's moving up. Yeah. I believe it's on short notice for her as well. She's also the older fighter, in my opinion. I know she's, a year older? But some of these girls hit their prime a little bit later than some others. We've seen that with like Jasmine Jasdavicius, another Canadian. similar like style. So it's who's to say Horth's not coming into her own? You know, she had her UFC debut against Veronica Hardy, where Hardy was very hard to corner, like a lot of lateral movement. Vanessa doesn't have that same lateral movement, so I believe she's going to be a lot more hittable. She comes in with blitzes and she likes to throw looping shots to try and maybe even get into the clinch. But in that, like she can leave her chin on the center line, I believe. And so Horth maybe hits her a lot harder than some of these other girls have. I've seen Vanessa stunned a few times on the feet. Ducote hurt her multiple other times. So, I like Horth here. She's going to be way more physical in the grappling exchanges. The body kicks are a really good weapon for her. She lands them good. Petrovic was using some of them to take her down, but I don't think Vanessa is going to catch a kick. She doesn't have the same kind of wrestling or physicality as Petrovic. Petrovic is another really large woman, and I think that's what the UFC kind of tries to do to these people. You want to move up a weight class, we're going to give you the biggest possible girl, see if you really want to do it. And I think Horth is going to have success on the outside with the body kicks. She can land straight shots up the middle. If Vanessa tries to come in, she can land step-in elbows like she did against Veronica Hardy. She gets better the later the fight goes, and she's a decent grappler too. Like she isn't credited for it on UFC stats, but if you go and watch the Petrovic fight, she had an armbar attempt, guillotine attempt, and I believe a rear naked choke attempt, but she got too high up on the back. It's the same mistake she kind of made in the Maverick fight. In that position, I think a lot of people, in MMA, we even kind of saw it with Quilin Salkid last week. He would try and just get the mat return, but then Yano would just tripod up, right? And then it kind of went into that exchange multiple times. So what you need to do in that situation is you put in one short hook, one long hook, and you try to break them down with like a half Nelson or a three-quarter Nelson. That's like, so if you try to throw in both hooks and they're tripoded, you're going to fall off the top every single time. You either have to do that or you have to mat return them and get your near side hook in. That way you could like break them down. That's really good jiu-jitsu, but Horth kind of, gets high on the back, but she might just be so physical here that if she gets to a mount position or anything, like it might just be ground and pound here. It might just be, I take your back, I choke you out. So I'm thinking it's a decision, but with the way Vanessa's so hittable, and Alan Carr's really good grappler, but she's not a great wrestler. She's able to get the dominant positions, and she's small. She's small for that weight class. Small. So if Horth gets in those same positions, who's to say she can even get out? So, yeah, I like her here. Maybe I'll look at the finish props.
I was thinking that too. You actually gave a lot better of a breakdown about the ground game than Joe Rogan has been doing on the pay-per-views. Jesus, man. I saw all the tweets about that. That was ridiculous. But I think Jamey-Lyn Horth is definitely the move here. She's now minus 600. I threw in her parlay when she was minus 475 earlier this morning. And honestly, I'm just going to eat that chalk, dude. Like, I really don't see a path to victory from Vanessa outside of some armbar from guard. But I'm going to trust that Jamey-Lyn Horth doesn't get her arm snatched. And I actually think she could finish her too. Just too big on the ground. The under 2.5 is at plus 290. I'm definitely staying away from that over at chalk. And I think Jamey-Lyn Horth gets it done. Vanessa Demopoulos probably just taking this for the paycheck and trying to, save her UFC roster spot at this point. Cause 11-7 isn't exactly doing much for the UFC. It's not like she puts on super fun fights either. So
fact, she's an interesting character, but I could see she's way closer to retirement than Horth is.
Yeah.
Even though the age is not that's what I meant when I said that before. Like one's just kind of on I think is closer to the end of the career than the other. And the thing with the arm bars too is like Horth is just so much bigger. People don't realize like physicality and weight class matters so much, especially in the grappling.
In women's MMA too, physicality is a big thing, real big thing. Quinn Kelly, safe to say, Alex will be losing money on Saturday with that pick. What did Alex say? I must have missed it. Oh, Alex said Vanessa decision. Oh, yeah, that's it's probably gonna be a nice price tag, but definitely I don't want to say definitely a loser, but probably a loser. Under 2.5 might be solid. I could see Horth getting a ground and pound. I could definitely see that, dude. I mean, Vanessa has some okay jiu-jitsu, but like who has she submitted? Silvana Gomez Juarez, like with an armbar. That's about it. She's not exactly
after she got dropped too. Who's to say it's not a standing TKO? Like this could be the hardest hitter she ever fought, and she's been cracked.
Yeah, I mean, before the UFC, Horth was 5-0 all finishes, so she's got some pop on her. Granted, not the best competition. She actually got 2 wins over Lupe Godinez in the amateurs too. Can't forget about that. That's pretty nice. Pretty nice to have on your record. Jamey-Lyn this week for sure. This one going to be a lot more interesting to talk about because the line is very close. Phil Rowe coming in here, back-to-back losses. At this point, I don't know if I could trust the guy because I think he has such great hardware. Like he's 6'3". He's 6'3". He's athletic. He's fast. He's got solid jiu-jitsu on the ground. But he goes out there and he just doesn't fight. Like, I don't know what this guy's doing. I'm waiting for him to do something. I'm waiting for him to throw a jab. I'm waiting for him to throw a nice 1-2, some front kicks, some knees up the middle, something that you could do with your length. And he just never does it. Sometimes when he lets his hands go, it looks nice, but that's literally for maybe once or twice in the round. He doesn't know how to win rounds, man. He doesn't know how to win rounds. Loosa, on the other hand, I've always said this guy is just an absolute tank that will not quit. And he's super durable, but he is very hittable. He finds himself in some sticky situations, to say the least, but he finds a way to get out of it. And he's probably the guy that I trust more to go in there and implement a game plan. If we're talking straight up skills, I think Phil Rowe might be the more skilled guy. But I just can't trust him to go out there and use those skills. I trust Loosa to go in there, probably look for some takedowns where Phil Rowe has shown a weakness, throw more volume than Phil Rowe. But Loosa is also gets hit a lot. He's a shorter guy, reach disadvantage, height disadvantage. And I don't know that his jiu-jitsu is that great. So, I mean, if Phil Rowe could get on top with something, then maybe he has something in his bag. I'm leaning towards Loosa here, but, you know, the odds are pretty close. What are you thinking?
This is an interesting fight, in my opinion. We'll start out. I think that Rowe, like, is – you said, like, he just kind of has these moments, right? Like, I think it's more like – I don't know if he truly wants to be in there sometimes in a fight. He wants to, like, spar. He wants it to be clean. Like, he doesn't feel comfortable, in my opinion, going backwards. When guys pressure forward, you saw in the Magny fight, when Magny stood on the outside, he's able to land low kicks. He's able to land the jab. But, you know, as he goes back, the defensive structures can start to break. But Magny is a very high IQ guy. He's a veteran at the end of the day. So it happens. I thought that was a winnable fight for Rowe, too. You know, if you walk Rowe, like, him forward with the feints, he like I said, I just feel like he could start to break. But if you try to take this guy down, I think he's going to be able to tall man defense it, get back up. Loosa, like you mentioned, has good wrestling. He does a good job getting the hands locked behind the butt. But Rowe is, like I said, he has that tall man defense, and I think on the cage he could use that to get back to the feet. Maybe land some elbows, threaten front chokes, maybe even. Loosa does put his head in some sketchy spots, but, you know, those long arms are good for the front chokes as well.
Yeah.
On the outside, I just feel like Phil Rowe, man, the guy's got to throw more strikes. If he'd let his hands go, I think he'd be able to land here and maybe even hurt Loosa and maybe even finish Loosa. We forget this guy has, 4 KOs on record. He has more KOs on record, but he has, I believe, 4 at the UFC level, maybe the 1 on Contender Series, and then 3 others. Obviously, Jason Witt, gets the takedowns. That guy's super chinny.
The great chin of Jason Witt, man.
Right. Loosa is hittable on the feet, man. Reese McGee had him on skates. AJ Fletcher had him hurt badly. So early, I think the wrestling pace of Loosa is going to be high here. I think he's going to get takedowns. Maybe I'll look takedown props on the Loosa side because I think you can take down Rowe. He has solid wrestling, but his control in the BJJ is not good. If Rowe gets on top, like you mentioned, he has that tall man. He has backpack upside. Like I said, I think he could threaten the front chokes, and I think he's the cleaner striker on the feet. So if Loosa goes all out on the wrestling, or or tries to knock him out, which I think he can. Rowe's been knocked out before. So, yeah, maybe I look toward violence. I think it's closer to a 50-50 matchup. It just depends on, if Rowe's able to weather the storm, because I think Loosa is going to bring pace and pressure.
Yeah.
I have no bets on it yet, though.
I think this is super weird. So, I mean, Loosa is minus 132, so he's not a big favorite. But the over is minus 275, over 2.5. Fight to go the distance minus 250. So, I mean, they're pretty confident the fight goes to a decision. And Phil Rowe's never won a decision. So, like, how is Phil Rowe this close of this close of a dog when they're pretty confident the fight goes to decision? Phil Rowe's never won a decision. Now, I guess it's just because Loosa's never been finished, but I mean, Loosa's 4-4 to the decision. I think Loosa probably has a lot of grappling upside just with the takedowns. He's shown he can get out of the chokes. I think Phil Rowe's probably one of the, I don't want to say one of the better grapplers that he's faced, because he just faced Gabriel Bonfim, which was nasty on the ground. But Bonfim just didn't really look like he wanted to be on the ground with Loosa. I think he just wanted to stand and strike with him and outbox him in that way. Brian Battle's also a pretty good grappler, but we know how that fight ended. Loosa didn't really want to be in there after a round and a minute with him. This one probably going to be a pass for me, man. Like, I would say Loosa by decision is probably my overall prediction of the fight, but at plus 100, it's, I think Phil Rowe, if he comes out and fights to his abilities, you could give him a good run for his money. And maybe I get to the Rowe side if it closes nicely. I mean, Rowe by submissions plus 675. What do you think about that?
I think he could KO him. I think on the feet, Loosa is so hittable, bro. We've seen him hurt so many times. For a guy that has KOs at the UFC level, I think he's got the cleaner hands. The thing with Loosa is he likes that high guard, right? Yeah. So Reese McGee did a good job going around it. You could go around, like, there's two things you could do. If a guy has a high guard, you go around it, right? With kicks, punches. You could split up the middle with straight shots, elbows, or you could go to the body. Gabriel Bonfim was doing a good job of going to the body. I think he slowed down a little bit as that fight went with the grappling. He's usually an early round one dangerous guy. Phil Rowe, I think, kind of keeps that same level throughout the fight. I don't think, the later the fight goes, he's going to be completely out of finishing potential. So, yeah, I think that he can crack him here on the feet with the straight shots. He's just got to let his hands go. If he lets go in combos here and doesn't get hit on the chin early, I think 2-3s, any time he could crack him. So, yeah, long reach too. Who knows? And Loosa leaves his head in these terrible spots too. Elbows right from the we've seen guys like Johnny Walker hit those, go out. People go out cold. So you got to be careful where you put your head. Loosa, like I said, good grappling, good wrestling, not the best control.
Phil's got to go train with Randy Brown. Know how to use a 6'3" frame, dude. Like, last fight against Jake Matthews, I was like begging this guy to throw a jab, and he would just wait for Jake to close the range. Jake would just box him up inside range and then get out of range, and Phil Rowe would do nothing. And then he ended up on his back, got held there, which I could see happening here.
Yeah, he's like a jits guy. Like, that's why you said the sub. I kind of like it. He only had 2 subs in the UFC. I think they were against Nico Price, where he had the guillotine attempt. Nico rolled out. Then he took the back. He had some good, solid time there. He does train at Fusion XL. Good gym. He even went out against Gordon Ryan. He got whooped, but he tried. Went to B team and trained with those guys. So he's got the jiu-jitsu, the long arms. So it's live. I just think he could also KO him.
Brian Fisher from the Fusion team as well. Yeah. Battle, put it on Loosa. The Parlay MMA in the chat.
He quit. That's another thing. I don't like quitters. I don't like betting on quitters.
Oh, Loosa, yeah. Yeah, he did. He definitely wanted out. Real club and sub, JB, maybe. Could be. I mean, there's not much of a neck to Angelo, so I'll give him that. You don't got much of a neck.
He gets out of so many chokes, bro.
Rose cut after this fight, 30-27 Loosa. Haircut is sharp, JB. They got some love in the chat for the haircut. The buzz cut. Shout out to the buzz cuts out there. That's what a real man rocks. All right.
What do you think?
Come on. Load that pay. Come on.
This is the short notice one. Maybe that's why it's not loaded. Oh, no.
Yeah, it's not loaded. But here we are. We got Ricky Simone, Cameron Simon. Or Smotherman, not Cameron Simon. Cameron Smotherman. Short notice to Ricky Simone. So Charles Jourdain was supposed to fight. And I was kind of eyeing up a Charles Jourdain bet at plus 150. So they had to pull him out with some eye injury or eye problem, or whatever, which is weird. But Smotherman completely disappointed me last time against Surrey City. I really expected him to come in and start to put the pace on Surrey City, put him on the back foot, and just overwhelm him. And he didn't. He didn't really throw much. He would try to cut him off. He couldn't cut him off. And when he did cut him off, Surrey City would hit him with something and get back out of range where he couldn't throw. And then he also wrestled him up. And that's the big thing here against Ricky Simone is he got wrestled up by Surrey City, who I don't think is the greatest wrestler, probably the better jits guy than Ricky Simone, but Ricky Simone's definitely the better wrestler, definitely has the better ability to get the takedowns. Can he control him is the question, because Smotherman's fairly good at getting back to his feet, but in his last fight, he wasn't very good at all. So I don't know how much I could put stock into that. You know, if he's getting back up to his feet on the regional scene, that's one thing. But at the UFC level, it's a different thing. Smotherman, going to be the better striker here. Simone, probably a little bit more KO upside. Simone's going to be the better grappler. I mean, it's a tough test for Smotherman at this point, because I also knew that he switched gyms going into that fight with Surrey City. And I thought he looked like a different fighter, man. Like I was waiting for this guy to put pressure on like he normally does. It looked like he was trying to be a little bit too more calculated. So I don't know how he approaches this one, but what are you thinking?
Yeah, sometimes it takes some time to get, accustomed to the camp, but he's still a young dude. Wrestling's going to be here for Ricky Simone, right? And he is probably going to be able to get takedowns here. I watched Cameron go up against Ryan Coos, goat shed guy. Coos able to get takedowns in that fight, put Smotherman on his back. Maybe Smotherman's improving there. I think he does a better job getting up against the cage than he does in the open mat. When he's on his back, he could tend to stay there a little bit. Ricky's very good top pressure, good wrestling, but I worry about him at this big favorite price. Whew, man.
Minus 500.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I think he out-wrestles Smotherman, but we've seen Smotherman in this spot before, short notice, as underdog. People are doubting him. He got the job done against Jake Hadley. Hadley, I don't think, is as good of a wrestler, but at certain points, he just didn't even attempt. And we've seen Ricky Simone. I even thought he's lost to some really good guys, but I even thought he maybe had an injury in the Vinicius Oliveira fight. We know how good Vinicius is now, but he just wasn't shooting the takedowns as much as people thought he should. And now he's coming off of a big KO win. I didn't expect him to get that KO over, was it Javid, right? I didn't expect that. And now, what happens when you get that big KO? Sometimes people fall in love with their hands. And I think a guy in Simone who's been KO'd, a couple times in the career. I know Smotherman's not the biggest power puncher, but I don't think he has to worry about the power coming back that he did in the Surrey City fight. I know Ricky Simone did just crack Javid, but it was a big overhand. He kind of landed the perfect shot. I don't think Ricky Simone's like this devastating striker. Smotherman should be fine on the feet. Then again, you get knocked out by Charlampus Gregorio, and anything could happen, bro. So, yeah, man, I think Ricky wins the fight, but at this, price tag, the guy who got knocked out by Uriah Faber in devastating fashion, I don't trust it at all.
Yeah, I mean, this might be a solid live betting spot just to see how Ricky Simone plays the first round. If he is just going to strike with him, or maybe he's getting a couple takedowns, but Smotherman's getting back up to his feet. But I'm not going to be laying minus 500 on Ricky Simone. I could tell you that, just because I think if he gets caught into a striking battle, it's going to be real close. I don't really trust Smotherman chin. I don't trust the defensive grappling, so I'm probably not even going to play his money line. But I would say it's a dog or pass, but I'm going to pass. And the over 2.5 right now is pretty much near a pick 'em. Slight chalk to the under. I mean, I could see it going to a decision. I don't really see how Ricky Simone gets him out of there outside of some type of big KO or big club.
He could sub him. He could process sub him.
You think he could?
Yeah, dude,
Process.
didn't he get Jack Shore? Jack Shore is a solid, or was that a club and sub?
He knocked him down
Okay.
first. And I mean, people forget, man. Ricky Simone submitted the champ, Marav Davalishvili, back in the day. I think it's I don't think he's going to
Interesting one. It's an interesting one. We don't know because Cameron could just get shown levels here. Dude, he's getting taken down, 8 times, I think it was, by Ryan Coos. Coos maybe just couldn't secure position. Maybe if Ricky secures position, he just shows levels, and it's short notice for Cam. But
last thing here, and then we'll hit the chats. We'll move on to the next one. But Smotherman, if he is a pressure fighter like he's supposed to be, those takedowns off the back foot might not be as easy for Ricky, if he's getting pressured up against the cage type of stuff. But, Ricky should probably get those and he should probably win. All right, let's hit the chats. Quinn Kelly saw the KO in person. It was nasty, dude. That right hand was like right as Javid was trying to get out, just caught him right on the chin. Beautiful stuff. Ricky's KO in Seattle was straight bliss. It was nasty. He was a big dog there, plus 200 or something like that.
He closed a little less, but yeah, he was up there.
Technical sub on the Marab. Yeah, because Marab didn't tap and he didn't go to sleep, but he kind of went to sleep. I don't even know.
Bro, he's inhumane. He's just not
he was asleep, but he was still moving. It was weird. Weird, dude. That fucking Marab is just ridiculous. Whole fight night in Seattle was good, yeah. It was a good card. Seattle card was pretty good. This one might be better. We'll see. I'm actually going to be there in person.
Let's go.
If you're in Atlanta, hit me up. I'll be there on Saturday.
And be safe, bro. Have fun.
Yeah, hopefully we escape the ATL with some coin and no bad stuff that happens there. But let's get into the next one here. We got Cody Durden, Jose Ochoa. This might be one of my favorite fights on the prelims here. I think it is my favorite fight on the prelims. Maybe one of my more favorite fights on the card. I think Ochoa is going to finish Cody Durden. I don't think Cody Durden is. I think Cody Durden's been an overachiever because when I look at his skill set, I'm like, okay, he's a pretty solid wrestler, but at the flyweight division, you're not really holding guys down. Like flyweights are tough to hold down. They're so light, you can't really use your weight to smother a guy. Cody's getting takedowns, but eventually they make their way back up to their feet because they're all good enough grapplers. And on the feet, I think his striking's okay. Like he's got a solid jab, solid leg kick, but he gets hurt all the time. And I think Ochoa is 24. He's 10 years younger. He's a dangerous striker. I don't think he's that clean on the feet, which is, kind of my hesitation a little bit with Ochoa. He's a little bit wild, but he throws hard. And I think if he hits Cody Durden with any shot in this fight, Cody Durden could get rocked. He could get club and subbed. If Cody Durden's shooting blind takedowns, Ochoa loves to threaten those front chokes to defend the takedowns. I think he could snatch something up. So I think Ochoa is getting this one done inside the distance. I love the age difference. I love the finishing upside with Ochoa. Durden's been finished in almost every loss that he's had outside of last time against Joshua Van. He showed good toughness. And Joshua Van is a great striker with really good pace. But Cody Durden was able to stay in there for all 15 minutes, but he did take a beating. Took a big, big beating at 34 years of age. Now he's getting a heavy hitter who can hit you with kicks, with his fists. He could choke you out. I think Ochoa gets this one inside the distance. What do you think?
This is a good one, bro, because Cody Durden, at the end of the day, he's going to bring it. And he's fighting in his hometown of Atlanta. He's got good grappling. It'll be interesting to see if he can get the fight to the ground versus Ochoa and control him from top, because he does have really good wrestling. But his last couple wins, he got rocked bad, really hurt versus Josh Van. He was on death's door there, so great point. The fight before that, his win was against Matt Schnell. It wasn't a knockout. It was a sub. So, guys, interesting. I think Ochoa's, at the end of the day, he's just more durable. I think he's the better striker. I think he can be hit on the feet, but maybe like it just, even if Durden rocks him, I think he'll be able to recover just because he's younger and, like I said, taking the less damage, more durable. And I think like you said, the front headlock series, we saw him go for it in a few fights on the regional. He got like that crazy anaconda choke where the guy was like walking up the fence. That was wild. But he has fought like lower level of competition. But then you go up to Loner Kavanaugh, who I think is a really, really solid prospect. He went tooth and nail with him. Went for that front headlock series in the fight. He uses his smart, though, to go to the back, even as an attempt for a rear naked choke on Loner. And like you said, I think the sub is live even here for the front choke, the club and sub, because he's a good grappler. But this guy puts himself in submissions constantly since the beginning of his UFC career. Gutierrez was able to go for an armbar, easily defended, but it was there. In his second fight, I believe against Jimmy Flick, dude, flying triangle against Jimmy Flick. That's a bad loss on the record. I know it was kind of meme, but it happened. Makayev rocks him early, puts him in a guillotine. Makayev
ain't rocking nobody, bro.
All right, round 2 against Mota. He had the armbar. It was easily defended. I wrote some of them down. He versus Hadley was in a guillotine in round 1, was able to get out. I think he was saved by the bell. Round 2 puts himself in another guillotine. And you could say on one end he's putting himself in and he's getting out, but he's still putting himself in these chokes. Mm-hmm. I believe it was also a ninja choke that Hadley went for, and then he had like a what was it, man? It was like an armbar.
Yeah, it was like a reverse triangle armbar or something like that.
Ooh, he had
I thought he was gonna tap, dude. That looked like it was gonna break, but he survived, dude.
So, like I said, he puts himself in these deep submissions and he's able to get out. How many times are you gonna get out? So then Tagir is finally able to expose him. Even Charles Johnson put him in a reverse triangle. So, yeah. And he got saved by the bell there. Who's to say Charles doesn't finish a reverse triangle on him? So, Ochoa training at Shootbox. Like I said, better striker, I think, on the feet. He has more weapons with the kicks. And just overall, I think he's going to win this fight. The only thing you can say is level of comp. But like I said, I saw what I needed versus Loner.
Level of competition is definitely on the Durden side, but I think a lot of people are going to look at that Durden Van fight and be like, well, Van couldn't finish him, then Ochoa's not going to finish him. Well, Ochoa's not afraid to go to the ground. Or he's not afraid to go for the back. He's not afraid to go for the chokes. Van doesn't really mess with that, man. Like if he rocks you and you're looking for a takedown, like, yeah, he's going to try to hit you, but he's not going to engage in the grappling. They get back up to the feet, and Josh Van just goes back to what he does, which is throw hella volume. Ochoa is not looking to land volume. He's looking to take your head off. And if you look to take Cody Durden's head off, you find it once. You're probably going to hurt him, and then he's going to shoot a sloppy takedown. Ochoa could look for the sub or just knee up the middle, stuff like that. I think Cody Durden's had a good career, but I could just see the decline coming from a mile away. I think Ochoa gets this one done. Ochoa's at minus 177 right now. I honestly, I was debating playing his money line, but ultimately I went with the inside the distance, which was plus 160, man. Plus 160 for this fight to get done by an Ochoa finish, I think is pretty solid. And you could even look at some of the round props, Ochoa round 1 or round 2, plus 450.
I think it could be round 1, bro. I don't hate that. He's got a lot of round 1.
The Ochoa subs plus 575. I got it at a little bit better than that, but
yeah. Well, we could wait. It'll probably come out on like some other books,
Yeah, for sure. I think Cody Durden. I mean, there's also that pressure too. You're fighting in your home state. You might be. We just saw Patchy Mix just fucking freeze up in front of everybody, and that was his home region as well in his UFC debut. Obviously, it's in a UFC debut for Durden, but I had to bring up Patchy in this live stream at least once. So somebody had to do it.
Best bantamweight in the world.
All right, let's see what the chat's got to say. Cody and Schnell have the worst chins at 125. Yeah, even when he did fight Schnell, it was at 135. So, he hasn't had a win at 125 since Jake Hadley. Only thing going for Durden is fighting his hometown. True. Starry Usman is much better fighter. Just wondering the 2-year layoff. We ain't even there yet, brother. Under 2.5 is a lock. Under 2.5. I mean, the only way I don't see under 2.5 is if Ochoa can't get up off his back. Like if he just gets
We
weapon.
haven't seen it, right? We haven't really seen it.
We haven't. I mean, he technically defended 2 takedowns from Loner, but they weren't really like hardcore looking for the takedown type of thing. Sub could be live either way. Definitely true. Patchy was terrible for how cocky he was talking. It was brutal. Brutal watch. I was literally fuming at the casino. I'm watching this, and I said it on the show last week. I was in agreement with Lucrative. I was like, Patchy don't get the sub. Bautista is going to win by decision, most likely. And I had got a good number on the Patchy sub, plus 400. And then I was like, well, I think if they go to the ground, I mean, Bautista, if he's going to get up, he's either going to give his back or if he's going to go for a choke, front choke. And then he's going to be in trouble and Patchy's going to be in his world. But I didn't expect that, Patchy wouldn't even really look for the takedown.
Yeah, we didn't even see it play out. So who knows,
Exactly. Didn't even see it play out. And in hindsight, Mario's movement was just too good. Just too good. I mean, Patchy's just way too flat-footed, and Mario was able to do it.
Fight, bro.
Yeah. Sometimes you watch some fights and you just want to turn the TV off because you're like, this is not what I expected at all. This fighter's not doing what they should be doing. I don't know why.
Yeah, Rinya Nakamura could name it so many times.
Gafarov, when he just didn't even shoot a takedown the entire fight. Unreal, but a couple chats. Patchy needs some after patches after that one. Mix ruined me having Gus and Salsa Boy as dogs. Damn. I said this earlier in the year, side tangent, but earlier in the year, I was tracking like these underdogs winning. Most of them were winning by decision. 3 underdogs last week, all won by decision. Dogs by decision is like the way to go in 2025. I mean, we're not seeing a lot of finishes from these guys. They're just coming in with good game plans. They're either going to out-cardio them, out-skill them, whatever. I mean, they're coming through by the underdogs. They're getting it done by decision most often. Are you ready for
numbers too, bro?
Ready for this one or what?
Oh boy, I'm ready for the legend himself making his return.
Have you seen the line?
What is it? Plus 2,500 for Moutinho?
Not quite. I think it was minus 1,300 earlier. Now it's minus 2,000 for Malcolm Wellmaker to get it done this week. I mean, do we need to spend any sort of time on this one? I mean, it should be a Malcolm Wellmaker KO. Moutinho got beat to shreds by O'Malley. Everybody knows that, but not a lot of people are going to remember when he got KO'd by Guido in round 1. And Guido's a fairly dangerous guy. But I mean, Moutinho was the favorite in that fight. Guido, at 41 years of age or whatever, got him out in round 1. It was another standing TKO. So got standing TKO by O'Malley in the 3rd, and then got standing TKO'd by Guido Canetti in round 1 the next fight. Since then, 5-fight win streak, all by finishes. But against who? I mean, the regional scene in the U.S., I think, is terrible. It's so bad. Unless you're coming from the regional scene in like Russia, if you've been cut by the UFC, I don't really buy into it that you're going to come back and like have a good run. I mean, you think about some of these guys that have been cut and then come back, like a Julian Erosa. Like he wasn't in the regional scene really in the U.S. Like he was going over to like Cage Warriors and stuff like that, like Bettor Promotions. Yusuf Zalal, Vince Morales went to like Ryzen and shit. Like if you ain't going over to there, I don't really put too much stock into it. But he has got five finishes in a row. So I mean, good for Moutinho, but he's plus 1,000 here. How could he get it done?
He could get it done however he wants. He's probably going to get a KO. It's minus 300. I'm interested in the under 1.5, minus 165. I know Chris is tough, but I think Wellmaker is a good finisher. I think he gets it done in round 1 for the crowd, probably by knockout. But Kid even has a ground game that we haven't even seen, so I don't think he gets a sub. But I'm just saying, like, that's just a part of the game we haven't seen. I think he's a great young prospect, and I think the home crowd gets what they want here, man. Chris Moutinho, too big of a step up. Welcome back, buddy, but you're getting smoked.
Yeah, I mean, props to him for taking the fight. I mean, we can't forget this, though. Moutinho does have a win over Damon Blackshear in 2018. How does that make any sense? I mean, that ain't a good look on Damon, but Moutinho's going to come in here. You know, he's probably going to look to bring the fight. I don't know why he wouldn't, because I think his only chance is really to look for some takedowns and try to tire out Wellmaker, because if he stands with Wellmaker, it's only a matter of time before he catches him with a clean shot. I mean, Moutinho's been knocked out 4 times. He's been finished 6 times. So even if he goes to the ground, it's not like Wellmaker could snatch up a sub. So, I mean, the KO is minus 300. I'm actually surprised it's not more, considering he's minus 2,000. But maybe that's a trap. Maybe it's Wellmaker by sub or Wellmaker by points. Who knows? But I think Wellmaker gets it done. I actually think the under 1.5 is pretty solid as well. I mean, if Wellmaker touches you, like, you're going to feel it. I mean, Cameron Simon's not a chinny guy by any means, and he put him to sleep. And Wellmaker's really sharp with his counters, really fast. I think Wellmaker gets him out of there in round 1.
Fair enough. I think, Chris said it. It's Niall said, Chris was my boxing coach for a bit. He won't go out in round 1. He's coming in fresh and a lot better. I think, there's something to be said for the Sean O'Malley fight. Like, he took so much damage in that fight. Whoever fought him next might have been fighting a very damaged version of him. But it's not to disrespect Chris Moutinho here. I just think he's coming in a tough spot against a very good prospect.
Yeah. Props to him for taking the fight, because I think somebody else said it. Yeah, Sergio said it. A lot of guys declined it. So, and Wellmaker's the local guy, so he wanted to be on the local card. Gotta love that he actually got a fight, and hopefully nothing happens where the fight gets canceled. Knock on wood, because I would love to see Wellmaker live in person, but we don't got to spend too much time on that one because there's not a ton to break down. For minus 2,000, dude, better cover that that under 1.5. Very true. Very true. If you don't cover that under 1.5, I'll be pissed. I actually got the under 1.5 at plus money on Sunday. I was like, I opened my I opened bet online. I was like, this under's plus money right now. I gotta fucking take that. There's no way I couldn't.
Good bet.
A lot more aggressive than Simon. Won't be the same type of fight. I agree. It's a tough fight. Yeah. No hate to your picks. That's fine. No hate at all. All right, let's move on to the man, the myth, the legend, Michael Chiesa, working the desk for the UFC these days, grinding away, trying to set up his life after fighting. And I was a little bit shocked to see Chiesa at the desk like a week or 2 ago. I think it was the Apex card before the pay-per-view. He was on the desk. I was like, bro, you're 2 weeks away from your fight. Like, we're on the desk right now. Like, what are we doing here? Not a great look, because in my recent Smith at the desk like 2 weeks before his fight with Ming Yang Zhang. And we all saw how that one went out. But Anthony Smith was a huge dog in that one. Chiesa is a pretty sizable favorite here against not an up-and-coming killer like Zhang. It's an old guy, Court McGee, who did cash as an underdog his last time out against Tim Means. Was that not the craziest line or what? He was like plus 190 to Tim Means, and his submission line was like, what, plus 800 or something?
Yeah, me and Maddie bets, we both cashed huge on that. Huge. I think it was like plus 800, and then Span got a sub right after, and we hit the parlay for like, big money.
If you know any type of chokes against Tim Means, you should be able to submit them.
That's it. That's it.
Exactly. Well, Court's coming in here as what, a plus 285 dog. And I mean, he's never been subbed. And Michael Chiesa, we all know, wants to get the fight to the ground and wants to get to that backpack, look for a rear naked choke. Chiesa's, submitted some good guys. And I was kind of surprised he got the sub on Max Griffin, who is also an older guy, but I don't think he had ever been submitted before that fight. and he had actually shown pretty good takedown defense. And I thought Chiesa actually looked really good. So I'm not really thinking Chiesa is washed here, even though he's at the desk. I mean, he's minus 350. Does he cover it though? Like, I mean, I don't really see him just wet blanketing Court McGee. He's not going to engage in the striking. Like, I was looking at the stats, man. Chiesa lands 1.81 significant strikes per minute. Considering this guy's amount of wins that he has in the UFC, that's ridiculous. But he only absorbs 1.66. So this guy literally does not engage in striking at all. He's just waiting for his opportunity to look for the takedown, get to the clinch, and look to take the back. I mean, you're the jiu-jitsu guy here. I've done jiu-jitsu once in my life, and I got submitted in 15 seconds. So you're the jiu-jitsu guy here. Break it down for us. How does this one go?
Hey, I also got submitted in 15 seconds on my first day. So all good. I think that if you know the Darce, you probably can submit Michael Chiesa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the answer to beating this guy. And if you don't know a Darce, you probably aren't gonna, beat Michael Chiesa. And that's how he literally gets beat in all his fights. I think Court McGee is gonna have trouble here once Chiesa starts to get to his process. He's one of the best guys at taking the back and finishing from the back that I've seen. It did take him till round 3 against Max Griffin, but Court McGee a few years ago, I didn't even know if he was going to be in MMA. He was getting knocked out left, right, and center by older guys, and both these guys are just very old. But I think that Court maybe just doesn't have the hips to defend the wrestling. Even though Chiesa isn't the best wrestler, he just finds ways to get these fights to the ground. He's very tricky with it, and I think once he's there, he's probably going to find a way. Maybe, let me see the numbers, because I do think there is a chance he could submit Court here. I do think it.
200 on the submission?
Yeah, that's not that good, bro. I'll probably stay away from it, but I do think Chiesa gets it done. KO, maybe?
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I was like, is there any way he could get the back of Court and just flatten him out, TKO?
He just doesn't really go for it, though. You know what I mean? Like, I don't ever seen one of his fights where I remember him, like you said, he lands 1.8 strikes per minute. The guy ain't looking for
man. He's just going to hold you there. He's going to work his way for the rear naked choke. So, I mean,
he could have TKO'd Ferguson if he wanted to. Like, what's Ferguson to stop him from getting up and doing what he like? So, yeah, I think Sub is more live, but he could also outpoint him. And I don't know. Like you said, this guy is on the desk. Where's he at in his career? I'm not really feeling it from a betting standpoint personally, but maybe throughout the week I'll do more film. Like, it's still Tuesday. I got a lot to research on some of these fights, and this is one of them.
Yeah, there's one submission attempt from Brahimaj in round 3. I think Morono jumped a guillotine on Court. That was never going to happen. Strickland got a submission attempt on him. I'd be interested to see what that was. I mean, there's a good amount of submission attempts that Court McGee has gone through. I'd have to go back and watch to see.
Now it's just like at the age of 40, and we'll talk about it later too. Just sometimes when these fighters get into their decline, it's just the next fight it gets even worse and worse and worse. And we just saw him submit Tim Means, so that's in our head. But it's like you said, anybody could submit Tim Means if they know some grappling stuff.
Yeah, I don't put too much stock into that. I mean, I had a bet on his Court's money line, and I don't know if I had him by sub. I don't think I did, but I definitely thought that was a big possibility. That's why I took his money line. All right, let's hit the chats before we hop into the next one. Chiesa can't strike for shit. I mean, he doesn't strike, so definitely not. Mike 0 KO wins. That's why the KO is plus 1,600. Goes the distance most likely.
It's a knockdown that he has. He knocked down, I think it was Masvidal, if I'm not wrong, which is crazy to think about. Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Let me look.
I'll go. Yeah, Michael Chiesa. I was looking at it earlier this week, and I was like,
yeah, he did. I forgot. Yeah, he knocked down. He knocked down Masvidal. He got Darsed. You're getting Darsed by Masvidal? Jesus.
The fact that you saying that now just sounds. He knocked down Masvidal and then got Darsed.
Yeah, I mean, if Court gets to the back or something, I mean, it could get interesting, but it's tough when you're 40. Chiesa KO, definitely have a knockdown. JB. Only one of my parlays hit Medeiros money line. All right. Well, Sergio's cashing a couple. Usman knocking out Masvidal is crazy too. Yeah.
Vicious.
I'm sure we'll talk about that one later, but let's get into the next one. We've been over this one before, I'm sure. I talked about this with Lucrative last week with the Pyfer and Gastelum rebooking, but I just hate when fights get rebooked. Like, I just don't even want to look at it. I didn't have a bet on Pyfer versus Gastelum because I just hate looking at it. I hate looking at this fight. I don't even think I had a bet on this fight in the first meeting. I did think, Bellato would probably get a KO, but it was going to be interesting because Bellato is a wild man who's very hittable on the feet. Don't think he's got the best fight IQ. And he pulled Jimmy Crute into mount his last fight. So if he does that against Paul Craig, it could get interesting, but I think Bellato should be able to outstrike him on the feet. Paul Craig has never shown any sort of striking. I don't know how he's been in the UFC this long and hasn't picked up any sort of striking outside of a body kick. So, going back up to 205, Bellato should probably be able to hit some leg kicks, pump some jabs out there, and outstrike him on the feet. But if he doesn't, Paul Craig, the Bear Jew, might be able to get something done. What do you think?
The Bear Jew. Bro, I think you made a great point. And if people are listening, like that was he said he doesn't like to bet on rebooked fights. And that's because the bookmakers already have all the info. They're ahead.
Yeah,
They've already seen all the bets.
They've been through all the line movement, like all the props have already been hit. They know what the props should have been priced at, or at least what they're about to close at, over unders. Because I think the only bet I had on this fight was Bellato over on significant strikes. Because I was like, Bellato's not a big heavy hitter. He should probably be able to hit him with some volume and maybe get him out of there late round 1, late round 2. And it was at like 20.5, and it got opened this week. It was at 33.5. I was like, well, I'm not going to play it anymore. Like the value on that is pretty much gone. It's 13.5 significant strikes more than what it was. So I just hate it, dude.
Yeah, so then when they reopen it, it's you lose all the value. It's not to say that it's not there, but it's a lot harder.
Yeah.
So yeah, in this fight, man, I think Bellato is going to steam. Personally, I don't really see a path for Craig besides a meme sub, but I just don't think Bellato is even going to follow him to the ground, and even then, he could maybe even stay safe. It's not impossible to stay safe from Paul Craig. We saw, Ozdemir, he just didn't engage. So what's Bellato decision? Maybe like he didn't Ozdemir decision him. Like I could see a world where Bellato just outstrikes him every time. Craig's hurt. He'll just pull guard. And maybe Bellato just doesn't engage, and the later the fight goes, he tires out too. Could be like a Bellato decision, but I think he knocks him out personally. I just don't like Craig striking.
Yeah, Bellato points is plus 500. I mean, for a minus 400 favorite for Paul Craig to lose a decision, I mean, Paul Craig's been to decisions. It's not like it's out of the realm of possibility. 2 decisions exactly, but that's also. Brendan Allen took him to the 3rd round.
Yeah.
Bahalio took him to the 2nd round. I don't really think Bellato's some big power puncher, I don't really see it that way. That's why I played him over on significant strikes, but if he catches him with something nice, and if he does follow up, then maybe he could TKO him, but then you're just getting into the Paul Craig triangle realm of stuff.
Yeah, I think he's a smart fighter too. Like I say that even though
I don't know if he's smart, man.
He pulled Jimmy Crute in the mount. I think he knows though. Like you don't have to be the biggest genius to know not to go into his guard. And even then, like his BJJ is not terrible. I don't know if he's ever been sub before. Who's to say he doesn't stay on top and win from the guard position? Like over 1.5 minus 135. Bellato could slow down the later the fight goes. He did get cracked by Ihor Peteria, but Peteria, at least early on, is dangerous. And, I like Bellato here.
Little Paul Craig head kick. I swear, Paul Craig literally only throws a body kick.
Yeah.
Nothing
That's just striking.
Outside of a body kick, there's nothing. And somehow Bo Nickel went to a decision with him in a striking battle. How do you just not counter the shit out of his one body kick? Like, it's coming. Like, just gear up a big left hand down the pipe.
That's another thing. I forgot he went to decision with nickel. Like, is it not possible Bellato just doesn't find the finish here? Like,
I think it is possible, man. Plus 500 is a big number, just considering Bellato's going to be able to win a striking battle. He clearly should win a striking battle. It's not that bad of a striker. He's very hittable, but he doesn't have enough volume to like outweigh what's coming at him. I don't think Paul Craig's going to drop him with anything. So Bellato's got some nice leg kicks too. I could see him dropping him with leg kick. Maybe we get a leg kick TKO. You never know.
Yeah, I could see that. He does land them really well.
Looks goofy, might sub him too. Goes the distance, might be sharp. It could. I mean, it's what, plus 350?
350. I think Bellato wins that every time. So just bet the 500 points, bro.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Craig's never won a decision. He's 0-2 to a decision. Hey, John Picks, you went 11 out of 13 UFC 316 picks. Yes, I did. Bo Nickel dead to me.
That's fine.
I mean, he's dead to a lot of guys. I can tell you that. All right, next one. Main card.
I got Jorick
on the main card. We got Alonzo Menifield taking on Umar C. And I think I gotta let you go first on one of these because I think I've gone first and on every one of them. So I'm gonna let you take.
Let's do it. I think Umar C is a massive favorite here. Would I bet him? I don't think so. I think he's gonna be the better striker at range. He's a guy that lands low kicks as well. Very well. He's got good knees to the body, good straight shots. He looks to counter well. When he can get the fights to the ground, he's very good at lacing the legs up, getting to the back position, getting on top. But my problem is he's just really green, in my opinion, He's got a big reach advantage here. So he can, find these backpack positions, like I said, find the subs, even finds ground and pound. But I've seen him reversed in fights before. On the regional scene, the one fight I was able to watch versus a guy, I'm going to try and find his name, but it was back in 2022, and there was a few times he completely reversed him and was able to get on top, which is where I worry that Umar Sy could be able to, give up control time or just wind up in bad positions against a hard hitter like Menifield. And when he does find these takedown positions, he's not always successful with them. We've seen that before. You could maybe even land like elbows from the clinch to the head if he leaves his head hanging there. Maybe threaten with front chokes. We've seen, Menifield was able to get the ghillie against Crute. Obviously, Crute, not the best, but still got the finish win there. He got the finish against Dustin Jacoby in the third round. So he's always dangerous with the hands, Menifield. I don't think he's the best fighter in the world, but he's the more experienced guy. Even like Tuco Tucos, like, is that the greatest win in the world, bro? Like, no, it's terrible. I'm sorry. I like, Tuco Tucos, but it's kind of the lower rung of guys in that division. And then you give him Da Woon Jung, and you could say, hey, it's at his home crowd, but he didn't finish that guy. That guy's on a 4-fight losing streak in the UFC, and there was moments that Da Woon Jung had. He cracked him with shots. He threaten him with reversals, and I don't think Da Woon Jung's that great of a grappler. So I think Menifield could maybe find reversals here and possibly make it ugly for Sy. But at the end of the day, I think he's going to get pieced up on the feet and maybe even KO'd here or subbed. But I just don't trust Sy at this price tag. Way too green for me, and I've seen sketchy moments on film where, I think he could be caught.
Yeah, I mean, he's minus 700, so it's a tough line because, like, I think he wins the fight. I think he's the better fighter. I think he's definitely going to have a much brighter future, probably reach levels that Alonzo has never reached and won't reach in the UFC. Like, I think he's a specimen at 205. He's a pretty solid grappler, and I was very impressed with his striking against Da Woon Jung. Like, I didn't think he had that in his bag, but he outstruck him. I mean, I got to look at these numbers because they're ridiculous when you think about.
He pieced them up for sure.
Light heavyweight fight that went 15 minutes. He outstruck him 90-29. Like, who's really doing that? He's long as shit. I thought he looked fairly fast. His leg kicks look sharp. I mean, he had a great performance his last time out. and that's probably why he's a huge favorite here. But he was a pretty sizable favorite against Dawoon Jung. But Dawoon Jung, I also wonder, like, if that guy's just completely cooked. Like, he was on a 3-fight losing streak. You know, he would just been knocked out, or beat to shreds by Olberg and then submitted in round 3. And Alonzo, he's picked up a couple losses, but they're to Mirzakhanov and Olberg. Like, those are some real snipers of strikers. So I can't really knock him for that. I don't think his last fight against Julius Walker was a good look. Like, I think Julius Walker's super green and like just pure athleticism. And Walker was struggling to get takedowns, and Menifield didn't really pull away. Like, that was a really close fight. And I don't think Julius Walker's striking is very good at all. So I think Umar Sy should be able to outpoint Menifield on the feet. He's got the more length. I think he's faster. I think he's cleaner with his technique. Menifield does have some power in his hands. And he won a mainly striking battle against Dustin Jacoby. So, I mean, it only takes a couple knockdowns or at least a couple big shots for him to win a round. But, I think Umar Sy wins this fight. I could see a decision, actually. Plus 250. I don't think Alonzo is like super chinny. I don't think Umar has the biggest knockout power with his hands.
Yeah.
I think you would have to get Alonzo to the ground, get into like a dominant position and TKO him. I don't really see a submission because Alonzo's never been submitted. He doesn't really have much of a neck. I think maybe even a round 3 or decision type of angle for Umar Sy, just because if Umar does get his grappling going, Alonzo, I don't think his cardio is very good, man. Like, he's super gassy. Like, against Julius Walker, the dude was gassed out. He fought through it, but Julius wrestling is just not good. Like,
even versus Ed Herman, bro, and Ed Herman was like 41 at the time. I remember that was like the first UFC I went to, and I watched Ed Herman just like go to the judges with him.
Yeah.
He was gassed, bro. C should probably. I think I could see C by any method. I could see C by any method. I think he could sub him. He's just a good process grappler. I think he could KO him on the feet. Alonzo's hittable, and even though Jacoby wasn't able to do it, I could see him landing straight shots up the middle. But my worry is like these reversals that I'm seeing in the grappling. If Alonzo's able to get on top, that's where I worry. Like, hey, there could be some sketchy moments. But
yeah,
generally, I just think C's gonna piece him up.
Yeah, I do too. Minus 700's unplayable in my opinion, just because he's so green, and Menifield has fought some good guys, and I'm just not touching minus 7.
Give me like plus 350, plus 400 on that KO, and I'll probably be interested.
Yeah.
Ground and pound or standing.
All right, let's hit the chats. Menifield goes full Bautista, kills the hype. I don't know if he's going to go Bautista. I mean, I don't think he's going to win a 15-minute striking battle with pace and volume, but I see where you're coming there. I don't think C covers his price. I don't really think so either. What age was Jan when he went on a run at 205? Pretty older. I mean, 205 you can fight pretty late. I mean, Glover won it at 42? So line is ridiculous. Agreed. So he's saying spread on Alonzo plus 3.5 worth a shot. Yeah. I'm not gonna play it, bro. I mean, I don't really trust Alonzo to not get finished, but I don't really trust Umar to go out there and just run through him. So it's one where I'm not super confident if there's a finish or not. I think Umar probably wins, but like you said, all 3 options for C I think are out there. So honestly, it's probably just a pass. I mean, maybe the over 1.5. What was that? Minus 150? Yeah, I don't know. I think I saw it at like minus 120 a couple days ago. I was like kind of eyeing it up, but probably a pass, honestly, in my opinion. All right. Brings us to another very big black man. Mansour Abdul-Malik taking on Cody Brundage. And I didn't know that Cody Brundage was going to get matched up with a big prospect like this after his win against Marquez, but they did. And Abdul-Malik's going to be a huge favorite here. He's minus 800. So we went from minus 700 on Umar Sy to minus 800 on Mansour Abdul-Malik, The under 1.5 is minus 185. They're expecting some early violence like most Cody Brundage fights. I mean, Abdul Malik is also green. He's also probably the fighter that's going to have a lot higher of a ceiling than his opponent. But anything can happen on any given night. What are you thinking here?
I'm just not a believer in Cody Brundage. You know, he got the KO win against Reese because Reese didn't go for the underhook on the leg. Oh well, you get slammed. That's what happens. And then he got the KO versus Trayshawn Gore. So yeah, round one Brundage opened like plus 1,400. Maybe that was wrong, but now it's like plus 650. The line movement was crazy. And that's his path to me. I know he's gotten finishes in round two, but he does kind of dumb mistakes on the ground. You know, pulled Gilly. He lost against Cedric Dumas. That's an unforgivable loss. So I can't bet Cody Brundage here. So probably just going to be a pass for me. I think Mansour KOs him in late round one or early round two. So I don't hate the under 1.5 here. And I'll be right back. I'm just going to turn my light on.
No worries. Yeah, I don't think the under 1.5 is terrible either. But as I said last week on the show, I got burned on that Zachary Dusko Todorovic under 1.5. So I don't think I'm going to be playing the under 1.5. I think Abdul Malik's a little bit green. Like we saw him hurt against Nick Klein. He got hit with like a spinning back fist. Got to take that into account. We've seen him hurt on the regional scene, but I don't know that Cody's going to like one shot knock him out. I could see him hitting him with something clean and kind of like hurting him a little bit, but I don't think Cody's like some brutal finisher where if he hits you with something, he's just going to follow up. I think if anything, if Abdul gets hit with something big, he could clinch him up. He could look for a takedown or just get back to range. Like I actually think Abdul Malik's striking is okay. Like I was very shocked that he didn't come out against Nick Klein and just look to take him over in round one. Like he was being way too patient for my liking. Like, dude, you're long as shit. You hit hard. You have a pretty solid jab. Like, just go out there and throw some jabs. Like Nick Klein was like scared shitless to throw anything at him. He was just hitting him with these little leg kicks. And then he spun one time, hit him with a back fist. And then he kind of gassed out a little bit. Like he slowed down and Abdul was able to close the range and get him out of there. I think Cody's going to be looking for a round one KO. And I don't really see him getting it. It's possible. That's how Cody wins most of his fights, but I think Abdul is just a little bit too big, too fast. It's too hard. If he needs to go to the wrestling, he can. I mean, if you shoot a takedown on Cody, he's gonna jump that Gilly, and I don't really think he's gonna get it. Maybe he could. Maybe he could. I mean, this fight just comes down to, maybe something could happen with Cody over the extended course of the fight. I think Abdul probably runs away with it, but Mansour is obviously the pick. Minus 800. I'm not playing it. I'm not playing Cody. Even at plus 650 in round one, like doesn't even make sense. So.
Wait, but even with the new hairline, you don't think he might? No.
Nah. I mean, unless that helped his chin. Like, I'm not to say that his chin is bad, but
he's just kind of I hate to say it, man, but I don't like to call guys quitters, but he just gives up kind of. And maybe he didn't against Julian Marquez, but remember, there was a break in that fight. He was getting rocked by Julian Marquez. That's a terrible look, dude. I think Mansour is probably going to send his head to the bleachers, bro. And I like the gym that Mansour is training at, too. Extreme, I believe he's at. I think he's a good prospect, here.
Yeah, I believe he's with a boy coach.
Does he really have 7.5 reach here, bro? He's going to probably hurt him badly. And even if Brundage pulls Gilly, if he doesn't get it like he didn't against Cedric Dumas, he's going to get ground and pounded. And, and maybe he plays with his food a little bit. That could be the thing. Like some guys, they have all these early finishes. They want to get into the rhythm of a UFC fight, so they play with their food. And that would be like my only worry with the under 1.5. But I think he gets it.
Abdul Malik's best asset might be his ground and pound. Like his ground and pound is nasty. I mean, he literally TKO'd Dusko from basically ground and pound. It was ridiculous. So
he don't play. He plays for keeps. Like my guy Josh Van. You get on the ground, he ain't looking to sub you. He's looking for that ground and pound in.
Oh yeah,
they'll take what you get.
Mansour round one is live. Very true. Cody strike line at 15. You ain't gonna catch me playing that, bro. Brundage crumbles against the fence. That is true. I think he's got to be on the front foot. And I had a bet on Cody Brundage's last fight, and I was scared for him because he started to get walked down and he was taking some big shots, and then the mouthpiece gate happened. And I was like, thank God that happened, because Cody came back out and kind of got to like get his wits about him. And then he was like starting to crumble, then mouthpiece gate, and then he like got his head right, came back out and got the knockout. So maybe he's gonna have to just spit out his mouthpiece again or something, and then get back into it.
Yo, what's the odds on that happening? Run this back after that happens.
Cody Brundage to spit out his mouthpiece plus 600. We could cash it. Speaking of another Cody, we got Cody Garbrandt taking on Raoni Barcelos. Cody coming in here off the loss to Figgy at UFC 300. Got choked out in round 2. Barcelos, the biggest underdog of the year against Peyton Talbot, put that man through the ringer. But that was the oralless Peyton Talbot with no hair, with all the Frank Ocean peen he wanted. And Barcelos put it on him. I mean, this guy looks like he's 50 years old, maybe even 60. I think he has gray hair. I think he literally dyes his hair so it's not gray. He's old as shit, but in fight years, he's not that old. I mean, he's not like a guy that is getting rocked with every shot. He's not going down to anything. I mean, he's been dropped a couple times. Got dropped by Kyler Phillips. Got knocked out by Umar Nurmagomedov. His only KO loss of his career. I think Barcelos comes in here and puts Cody Garbrandt into retirement, bro. Like, I don't think Cody is anything of what he used to be. And honestly, what he used to be, I don't think was all that great either. Like, I don't really think this guy he's been living off this one performance against Dominic Cruz in 2016. Since then, he's done absolutely nothing. This guy is super low volume. Yes, he's fast and he has some cool little emotes and stuff, but what does he do well? He can't take a shot well. He doesn't offensively wrestle. His defensive wrestling is okay, but who's really looking to offensively wrestle against him? And the one guy that did his last time out in Figgy got him down and choked him out as soon as he got him to the ground. I mean, Barcelos, in my opinion, has better cardio, more output, better wrestling, better grappling. Like, outside of pure speed, I think Barcelos has like every advantage in this fight. I haven't gotten to a bet yet because I don't want to just sell myself on this. Maybe you could talk me out of it, but what are you thinking?
I want to disagree with you on one of these fights because I hate when I get on and I just agree. But it's an interesting one, man. If Cody could keep it on the outside like he did against Trevin Jones, land the cleaner shots, I think he could, find himself in a spot where he uses the veteran IQ and wins the decision. I just think, like you said, man, Barcelos shooting 7, 8 takedowns in a fight. The worst performance he had was probably against, he obviously got knocked out by Umar Nurmagomedov, who's a fucking beast. And then he had the Victor Henry one where he kind of shit the bed. And maybe you could say, hey, Cody Garbrandt could implement that same kind of strategy. But I worry about, where Cody Garbrandt is at in this state of his career. Like my guy Alex E's, hinting to in the comments. I think he did go to rehab for some issues, if I'm not mistaken. And now he's back, sober in the fight game. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, guys, but I believe that's true. So that's something. And he reached the top. It's, it's a hard mental thing when you reach that level of stardom and fame to go back to being a, guy who's opening the prelims or not opening the prelims, opening the main card. Or is he opening it? But you get what I'm saying. He ain't the main event anymore. When you're that high level and then you fall off like that, it could play a mental factor too. And he's been taken down before by guys like Rob Font, guys, when they push the grappling on him in the later stage of the career, are able to get takedowns. And Cody did a good job of defending the subs originally against Figueiredo, but eventually he kind of just wound up losing to the rear naked choke. And I don't want to say it, maybe he was out of breath, but I felt like he could have fought the hands there. I think Ronnie's a better like process grappler than that, and I think he's going to take Cody Garbrandt down and sub him for the second time in his career in a row. Hani Barcelos by sub is going to be my read on this fight, man. But good scrap, bro.
Yeah, I also like that sub as well. I mean, he's not exactly a guy that has a ton of subs, but I mean, I don't think Peyton Talbot's the easiest guy to sub, and he had Peyton Talbot in some tough spots. And I know Peyton's not like some amazing wrestler, but we look at Peyton Talbot, his career takedown defense is still 75% after getting taken down 8 times by Hani Barcelos.
Was that because of a gear though, or the first guy he fought?
And it was because of the Reyes Cortez fight.
Okay, yeah, he shot like 12 takedowns.
Yeah, Cortez went 1 of 17. But you know, I don't think Barcelos is. I really think the only way Barcelos loses is if Cody catches him with a KO. Am I going to bank on Cody getting a KO? No. Like I don't really see how Cody wins this outside of some big knockout. I don't think he has the ability to win a decision. I guess maybe if he lands a knockdown or two. But I think Barcelos is the way better minute winner, the way better grappler. And he's kind of been going towards the grappling as he's gotten older. You know, he got 3 takedowns against Kyler Phillips. Kyler Phillips is not a guy that's easy to take down. He's got really good movement, very fast as well. Christian Quinones, he took him down twice, submitted him in the 3rd round, 8 times against Peyton Talbot, who has crazy good pace, crazy good volume. I mean, that's not something you're going to see against Cody Garbrandt. There's no pace. There's no volume. Cody Garbrandt doesn't land significant strikes, dude. Like, he lands 2.98. For a guy that's mainly striking, you're literally relying on a knockout punch. You're not going to be able to win minutes that way. So I think Barcelos gets this one done.
Yeah.
He's 190. I could see the club at plus 425 as well.
Yeah, I could see a KO too. Garbrandt, you know, that's the reason he doesn't land as many strikes anymore, because he's scared to get hit, because he's been knocked out so many times. He even cut to 125 just to get knocked out there, and that was a hard look. And then to go through all those things, I just see, like, you know, it being a tough fight for him. But yeah, he could clip Brownie. That, you know, Umar KO was kind of weird, right? Like, at the end of the day.
I mean, it was like a beautiful knee up the middle that took Barcelos' eyes off of him and then just got caught with something. But he did go out cold, so, you know. But he did come back against Phillips. He took a flush right hand, got dropped, but got right back. I think
he got dropped there too. That's another, you know. But it's just like he did recover, but it's also he got dropped. Like,
that is the only thing that, you know, watching Barcelos' last few fights, doesn't react to getting hit the best, but like he still stays in it. He's not like getting dropped all over the place. He'll take a shot, kind of do a little wobble, and then get back to his stuff. So, you know, maybe Cody gets a KO, but I just don't really see how he wins many minutes here.
I gotta film it.
Minutes.
Yeah, I gotta film it some more, but I think Ronnie steams.
Gonna fade Cody. Gonna do a fade Cody parlay. I mean, who's the other Cody?
There's 3 on this card.
Durden, yeah. Cody Durden.
And then Cody Brundage.
And Cody Garbrandt. Damn.
There you go.
Ochoa, Barcelos, and Abdul Malik. That might be the move, dude. Might be the move. All Codys are dogs. So, I mean, one of them's got to come through, right?
All of them are getting finished, bro. Let's go.
115 of us in here and only 21 likes. Smash the like button for us. Come on now. I think we did it last week with Lucrative, but if we get over 100 likes, we'll throw in a nice little fun parlay. Now, last week's fun parlay did not hit. So that means we got some redemption, Mr. JB. We got to actually cash a free card.
We gonna.
And I actually feel pretty good about this card. Last week was not – I didn't have a bad feeling about it, but there were some tough spots, man. There were some tough spots.
We going to the ATL, bro. We got to bump some TI. You know, I like my beat. Down low, down low, down low, down low. Nah, I'm just playing, bro. You got to bump some Gucci Mane, some Future.
Gucci.
All that.
My boy Future. Like the video so we can give out a parlay. Get us over to 100 likes and we'll give out a parlay. after the main event. But we got 3 fights left, so you better hit that like button real quick because we're going to get to the main event shortly. But we got Edmen Shabazian, Andre Petroski. I've said it before here on the channel, but a couple weeks ago when we were in Vegas, we went to Extreme Couture Saturday morning before the fights. Edmen Shabazian was training with Coach Nixick. I talked to Edmen a little bit, saw some of his training. He was training with Alex Polizzi, who is a PFL guy, mainly wrestler. So it's good to see him getting some work in with the wrestlers because he's going to have to defend some wrestling here against Petroski, most likely, unless he KOs him before Petroski could shoot. But I think Shabazian might be coming into his own, man. Like, this guy's still, 28, 29? I mean, he's been in the UFC for a good amount. He's got a lot of UFC experience. Petroski is 34. He's coming off some wins, but to be honest, I don't really put too much stock in those wins. You can also say the same thing about Shabazian, but I think if Petroski's on the feet here, he's in major trouble. Major trouble because Shabazian has many ways to finish you on the feet with the kicks, with the knees, with his hands. Petroski, I think, is fought some solid game plans, but if you come in here with a good game plan against Shabazian, you better be sharp with it. Otherwise, Shabazian's going to find that KO. And I do think he finds the KO, but, Petroski, if he gets you to the ground, he can hold you there. He can hold you there, and I don't know that Shabazian's get-ups are going to be right away. I think Petroski, if he makes him work on the ground, it could start to tire him out. Maybe he could look for the neck. Petroski, if he finds his openings, he's got some tight squeeze. So I got a lot of respect for Petroski in this matchup, but I do think Shabazian probably finds an early KO. What do you think?
I agree, but it's hard to trust Edmen. At the end of the day, the guy's imploded multiple times in the octagon, even against GM3. So say what you want, Petroski had a close fight with GM3. So on the feet, this probably is not going to be competitive. Even Shabazian was able to get the late KO in round 1 against Dobson. That was a beautiful look. I thought maybe if that one came into the second, third round, we could start to see Shabazian slow down. And I don't know if it's all cardio, but I feel like he can mentally break. Obviously, these are versus guys like Derek Brunson, Anthony Hernandez, the row of killers that he had to face to get up to this level is, really hard. So got to give the guy some credit because he was, really fed to the wolves. The UFC thought he was going to be a really good star, and his potential just kind of wound up crashing. But I still think he has some talent. He's out there training with Dewey Cooper. When I looked at the lines originally, it was like minus 200 Edmen KO. Or no, minus 200 Edmen. And then it was plus 130 or plus 140 for the under 1.5. And I thought to myself, one of those lines has to be wrong. Because how does Edmen cover that price if he's not finishing him in the first, 7.5 minutes? I don't really see it. It's even still plus money now. And I think that could be a sneaky way to play this fight, because who's to say that Petroski doesn't get him down and, Edmen's imploded before he gets finished early in round 2 or whatever happens. I think Petroski, he can slow down, but he gets better late. But this is a guy who got knocked out by a hip. I tend to think violence happens here. And if not, if this gets into the late rounds, I'll look for the Petroski props, because the fight to not go the distance is minus 250. Books are expecting it not to go. I've seen Edmen implode multiple times. If he's able to survive, or maybe even if he's able to get a takedown round 1, who's to say he can't get a takedown in round 1? And then let's see how Edmen's cardio plays throughout the fight. I'd be very interested to see that. So I'll be looking at Petroski late props. I think he could get it done, by the sub or whatever, because I've seen this guy Edmen get ground and pound, and whatever happens when he implodes, it's just you're waiting on that to happen. And I generally tend to think he's probably going to get outstriked in that period of time and wind up taking a nap. But if that doesn't happen, Petroski's live in this spot. So grappling could go to him. And yeah, it's interesting, man. Very interesting fight. I'll be looking at violence.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a pretty good read on the Edmen fights. He's 5-0 in his last 5. I guess the only upset I called was GM3, but that's just an auto bet for me is GM3 round 2-3 sub. So there's that. But I think if Petroski gets his wrestling going, obviously he could start to take over. But I think Shabazian is gonna put him away, dude.
Shabazian, round 1 KO.
Yeah, I mean for sure. Round 1 KO is plus 300.
I don't hate that.
It's not bad. I mean, he's got 10 round 1 KOs. 11 of his wins come in round 1. So I think there is something in there. I'd definitely throw Edmund round 1 in some of these long shot parlays. You never know.
Sub number. Why is Edmund sub plus 550? He went for one sub in his career, and I guess Petroski got caught with the ninja choke by Battle. But what?
I'm gonna go Edmund here. I think he gets it done.
I'm not as bullish, but I agree with you.
What's the chat think here? Love and hate Edmund. Yeah, I mean, he's either gonna make you some money real quick, or you're gonna be very frustrated when that fight hits round 2. That's pretty simple. Hate to see him losing every card. Oh, Matty, talking about Matty. Petroski round 3, Edmund round 1. Edmund KO. I like the under 2.5 as well. Just you get some upside for Petroski round 2 or early round 3.
My only worry is both these guys kind of slow down, and we've seen Petroski before go to the grappling against Dylan Budka and not even attempt to finish the fight. So that's my other worry.
That is the worry. And he kind of gassed out against Meerschaert, but we'll see. We shall see.
Yeah, we got all week to think about it, bro. So it's all good.
All right, co-main event. Rose Namajunas taking on Miranda Maverick. Big thing here. These girls are training partners for the past year or two. And I guess from the interviews that I've listened to, it's mainly just been for sparring. So I guess they just, throughout the week, they meet on sparring days and they just spar. They don't necessarily train together in an aspect of helping each other with certain fights or whatever. I guess a little bit. I think Miranda said she mimicked Macy Barber a little bit for when they were when Rose and Macy were booked to fight. So there's a lot of familiarity is what I'm trying to get at. And Miranda's going to come in here as the underdog, plus 200 or so, a little bit higher than plus 200. And it's a mainly grappler. I mean, Miranda Maverick, I don't think is the greatest striker. I don't think her wrestling is amazing, but she is a physical girl for a 125. She wants to get into the clinch, look for that grappling, and she's a pretty solid grappler, man. I mean, I don't think she's going to get outclassed in the jiu-jitsu by Rose Namajunas. Miranda's takedown defense on paper really ain't that good. So I think this fight could end up playing a lot on the ground. And if that's how it's going to go, I don't think Miranda should be plus 200. I mean, Rose is a good grappler. She's solid in most positions. I don't really see Miranda snatching up a submission, but I could see Miranda on top for a few minutes or so. I could see him striking it out a little bit. One of them goes for a takedown. They end up on the ground. Whoever's in top control wins that round. I think it's a pretty close fight. I don't really think Miranda's going to be super competitive in a striking only battle. But the thing with Rose is if she's going up against a grappler, she's not exactly a very aggressive striker. She somewhat freezes up against girls that want to take her down. And if these sparring sessions included grappling, then maybe she knows, I don't really want to get taken down by Miranda because she's a very physical girl. She can get a hold of me and I'm going to lose minutes there. Now, one thing I did hear in the interviews was that Rose accepted the fight first. And then they called Miranda, and Miranda was told that Rose had accepted the fight. They're wondering if she wanted to accept. She accepted, and then they got on the phone with Pat. She called Pat, and Pat was like, yeah, we accepted the fight. It's no big deal. We're just going to fight it out, and this is the game. So that's interesting there. Maybe there's a little bit of something in Miranda Maverick where she wants to prove to Rose probably shouldn't have accepted this fight. But there's also something on the other side. Like if Rose accepted the fight first, maybe she knows that she could beat this girl pretty easily. Who knows? But at the end of the day, Rose is a big favorite here. She's the better striker in my opinion, but she freezes up a little bit against wrestlers. I think this is a massive opportunity for Miranda and not really much of an opportunity for Rose Namajunas. So I look at this as Rose is a girl that has many, many flaws in her fight IQ, in the way she goes about fights. Like, is this a fight where she's going to be jumping out of bed to like get after it? I don't really think so. So I think it's a close fight. I could see it being 29-28 either way. What do you think?
Had to get some pack that I got from last week real quick. I went off cam. That way, YouTube don't ban us or whatever. Nice. But I like my girl, Miranda Maverick, in this spot. I'm going to pick her to win this fight. Maybe not outright, but Rose like minus 150. Is that fair? A girl who we've seen just have mental breakdowns in the middle of fights, just not fight. A girl who's low volume, a girl who can be put on her back, a girl who's a former 115 pounder going up against a really physical girl, and Miranda Maverick, who you want to talk about physical. I thought Horth was way bigger than her in the last fight. We talked about her a little bit earlier. Man, like Maverick was still, using some good wrestling, and we talk about how much physicality matters. I think she's a very solid wrestler. She's got solid BJJ. She knows how to use her positioning, and I don't think she's completely moot on the feet. Do I think Rose is the better pure striker? Yeah, she probably got the knock down upside, KO upside, I guess you want to say, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's likely going to go to decision, minus 500. Maybe Maverick gets a sub. Like I said, these mental moments from Rose, right? If she's put in bad positions, it's live to happen. Maverick's a very solid grappler. She has subs on the record. Rose, I know it was against Jillian, and I know it's not in MMA, but that rear naked choke, then it just seemed like she gave up.
Yeah.
I know it's a grappling match, but mentally that's weird. And with the Pat Barry situation, like the Carla Esparza fight, Pat Barry might be going 0-2 on this card, bro. We forget, or he's the GOAT coach and they both get it done, right? Or 1-1. Who knows? I think Maverick is going to use the physicality here, use the grappling, and I just think the line's a little bit wide. Could very likely to go the distance, but I think Maverick could get the sub. If not, she's getting outstruck on the feet in this one. But why wouldn't she grapple here? And if Rose isn't going to defend takedowns, Maverick's not going to, look this price tag.
Yeah, I mean, both girls don't exactly have the best takedown defense. Like Rose is at 61%, Miranda's at 44%. So that's why I could see a lot of grappling here. I mean, if you're Miranda, if you get taken down by Rose, like, are you mad? Like, probably not. You're probably just like, okay, let's grapple. I'll try to get back up to a better position, and then we can get into the clinch, and I can look for my own takedown.
Hebos, fucking another 115er. Hebos, 4 takedowns.
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing we didn't even say, but this is Rose at 125. I mean, she's been at 125 for her last 4 fights now, but I mean, I don't really think she's bulked up to 125. It literally just seems like she's not cutting weight to 115 anymore. And she probably have to chop off an arm to make 115 because even though she's 5'3", she's stocky as shit. She's got some big legs, some big arms, very physical. And I was listening to Rowe's interview today, and they asked her about the Blanchfield fight, and she literally admitted, she was like, yeah, I thought it was close, a close fight, but I think she just wanted it more than me at the end. I think I could just tell, like, she in round 4 or 5, like, she just wanted it more than me. I was like, yeah, if you're just gonna admit that, like openly admit that, how could I trust you to want it more than Miranda Maverick in round 3 if it's 1-1, like, or even if it's 2-0? If it's 2-0 Rose, like, who's to say Rose just doesn't give up round 3 because she thinks she has the fight? Or even if it's a close fight going into round 3, could be a swing round. Who's to say she just doesn't want it anymore? Who cares? Like, it's pretty wild to make Rose minus 241 here. On paper, it might look like it makes sense, but she's just a very untrustworthy fighter, in my opinion.
Maverick split, maybe? Like, what's that?
I like Miranda Maverick plus 3.5, man. I mean, I think this fight goes to decision pretty clearly. I think Miranda could easily steal a round. Miranda split plus 750.
You'll get a way better line on, but I think that's probably her path. Unless she gets a sub somehow, like she just dominates in the grappling. What's that? Plus 1,000? Yeah, I think you get like plus 1,400. I might take a look at that.
Yeah. Miranda said in her interview, she said she probably sees it going to decision. But
but literally every time I listen to her interview and she says she's gonna go for a finish, it goes to decision. So maybe the opposite now. She says, "Oh, it'll probably go to decision." She's gonna get the finish. Like
so true. So true. All right, what are we at for the like count? Does anybody know? Put it in the chat. I don't think mine is refreshed.
Yeah, if we don't get these likes, we're not giving out this parlay, and this parlay is gonna cash. So
we got to get to 100 likes, ladies and gentlemen, to give out this parlay. We're at the main event right now. We're going to go over the chats about this fight real quick, though. Rose was scared of getting taken down by Cookie Monster. Yeah, exactly. She is stocky. She got slammed on her tummy. Country girl strength for Miranda, farming bees these days. She gets after it. She also adopted a kid, a baby, which is a little bit concerning, if I do say so.
No, not at all. New mother strength, bro. And she didn't even have to go through the pregnancy. No wear and tear on the body, like that, dude.
No wear and tear on the body, but trust me, I've had a kid, and that baby is very, very young. Like they literally adopted it in the hospital. Like this isn't some like 8-month-old or 9-month-old. Like this is a newborn baby. I think this was like a month ago, maybe. It's a newborn baby. And in the interview, the baby was crying in the background. So I'm like, this is just giving me PTSD from when my baby was born. And I'm getting like no sleep. You know, you're having a million things to do. I couldn't imagine doing a fight camp on like less sleep than you're used to. So there's a little bit of like red flags for Miranda Maverick, but who knows? You know, some fighters are just able to go out there and do whatever they need to do.
Maybe she got like a grandma or something, like her mom, you know, on weekends.
Maybe. I think her husband, I guess, is doing most.
Yeah, the husband, dude. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
He got it. He got it. He's taking care of it, bro. He got it.
All right, we're at 41 likes right now. Is that
Miranda Maverick? If Miranda Maverick submits Rose Namajunas in round 2 or 3, I'll buy a whole gallon of her pickles. I'll say that right here, right now.
There we go.
And I might play it too.
I mean, round 2, 3 sub, 2,800, 3,500. You'll probably get like 3,500, 40 to 1.
You may even get better. Just wait. Just wait.
Hopefully, nobody's listening. We're only at 41 likes, so we're gonna have to get a ton of likes going on here if we're gonna give out a parlay, because we're at the main event. We're at the main event, and I really want to give out a parlay, but if we ain't at 100 likes, I just can't do it.
Hey, they're gonna have to come over to Parlay Madness. They're gonna have to give that video some likes, and this is gonna have to at least get to 100. If we don't get 100 by the time we get to Parlay Madness, we might just cancel the whole fight card. Not even the show. We'll cancel the whole fight card. Like Usman won't even fight Buckley. It won't happen. So like the video. Hopefully we give out one here, and if not, we're gonna give out multiple cashing parlays this Thursday.
Many, many more. All right, let's get to the main event. We got Kamaru Usman, Joaquin Buckley. I think I'm going to let you go first because I went first on most of these. So this is the main event. JB, where are you going?
Look, Kamaru Usman, in his prime, one of the best fighters to ever grace this planet at 170. And I could say it time and time again, the knockout against Jorge Masvidal that we talked about early, beautiful. The way he's able to mix the takedowns with the clinching and the grappling. Like when Kamaru Usman said, he's I might not be the best striker. I might not be the best wrestler, but I know how to mix this shit all together, and that's a fact. But, man, that was a while ago. He's had some nasty knee injuries since that time. The guy's like, we've heard stories about that he can't even walk upstairs. He has to walk down the stairs backwards. Like that scares me for sure. And yeah, man, but it's hard to see because he's one of my favorite fighters. The Hamza fight made me wonder if he has a little bit left in the tank, but It's 2 years ago. Inactivity is a real thing. While he's been out, Buckley, this guy's been out getting into fights with Bilal Muhammad on podcasts, while Buckley's in there, going 5 rounds, 50-45 and Colby Covington,
You
So
calling him Joaquin?
How do you say it?
I think it's just Joaquin.
Joaquin. All right, Jaqueen Buckley. No, I'm just playing. I think he is gonna be able to land here big shots if he's not getting wrestled. I like the takedown defense that I see from him, but maybe Usman brings a heavier pace of wrestling than a guy like Colby brung. At the end of the day, Leon Edwards in the first fight was getting ragged badly by Kamaru Usman until he landed that head kick. Second fight, played out split decision kind of fight in my opinion. It was a really close one against a good striker in Leon Edwards, who is a guy who can defend takedowns and strike. And then, since then, it's been a little rough for Usman, but who's to say he doesn't have one more in the tank? And Buckley, who's his best? He's on a roll at 170, though. I do want to say this, but let's look at his wins. We'll break those down a little bit because I got to do more film on this fight, but I have a pretty good solid read on both of these guys, in my opinion. Luque fight, Luque quit. In my opinion, Ruzaboev was a fight where he just was able to take down Ruzaboev. We really don't I can't compare Ruzaboev to Usman, levels wise. Then you got Stephen Thompson, where he was out striking him, and then he lands the big KO in round 3. This guy's dangerous for sure, Joaquin Buckley. That's what I'm gonna keep calling him. How do I actually say it?
Joaquin.
Oh man, he went to decision with Alex Morono. Wasn't able to get the KO there. So who's to say this guy's gonna get the? Oh, he was able to get the stoppage on Colby. I said it went to decision, but I was wrong on that. I had to go back and watch that. But it was a doctor stoppage, right? Yeah, it just depends on where Kamaru Usman's at in this point in his career. I could see Joaquin even getting takedowns here. That's one thing I haven't heard anybody. I haven't really listened to many breakdowns, but I don't know if people are going to talk about that. Kamaru Usman, we've seen Leon Edwards come out there offensively wrestle, put him on his back. I think Buckley would be very smart to do that here, and I think he's live to win this fight. I'm not sure what I feel about the line. I got to go back and watch some more fights, but hard to trust Usman at this point in his career. We'll see, man. But I think it's an interesting fight. I do think the dog is live, but that's before filming. And Joaquin, dangerous as fuck, bro. Dude, you catch a kick from that guy, he might Dragon Ball Z your ass like Empika Saganai. So, yeah, good fight, man.
Yeah, I'd probably not giving as much credit to Usman as you are at this point because I don't really see how Buckley loses outside of getting chinned with something. I think Buckley runs through Usman. Usman is 38. And honestly, I said this a long while ago, but I never thought Kamaru Usman's title reign was all that impressive. 2 wins over Masvidal, who cares? I never thought Masvidal was good at all. He's literally a journeyman. He never should have been fighting for the title for once. Never should have got a rematch. So those are 2 of his 5 title reign wins. The other 2 are Colby Covington. I never thought Colby was that good at all either. We just saw what Buckley did to Colby. Granted, it's a more weathered down Colby, but I never thought Colby was that good. And honestly, it's a terrible matchup for Colby because can't use his wrestling. You're not going to take down Kamaru. So he's going to have to strike with him, and he's just not as good of a striker. And then a win over Gilbert Burns where Gilbert hurt him early, and then Gilbert, started to slow down, and Kamaru got his striking going and took over and got him out of there. So I've never been a big believer in Usman's title reign. And as soon as he got knocked out by Leon, I said, this is the end. This is the end for Kamaru. There's no coming back from this. This guy has thought he was invincible. He got hit with the kill shot to the head. There's no way he's going to come back from this. He's older. He's had so many injuries, the knees. And I bet on Leon in the rematch at plus 200 something. He gets it done by decision. And I remember that being somewhat of a close fight. Like, Leon's not a guy that's going to run away with fights, but Leon also, I think, won the fight with a point deduction. Leon got a point deducted for grabbing the cage. So he won 4 out of the 5 rounds, in my opinion. And I think looking back on it now, I'm looking at the stats. Leon Edwards only threw 161 significant strikes in a 5-round fight. Kamaru Usman threw 205. You know what the accuracy on both guys was?
No. What is it?
Kamaru Usman landed 42% of his significant strikes. Leon Edwards, who only threw 161 significant strikes in the fight, landed 74%.
Sheesh.
That is crazy.
He was mashing him with the body kicks, if I remember correctly. He got him hurt pretty bad with a body kick.
With anything. He landed 50 leg kicks. 50 leg kicks in that fight. 74% of his strikes that he threw landed on Kamaru Usman. Now, granted, that's a lot because Usman, it wasn't really getting many takedowns. And reason for that was probably because he was scared of bad entries. Leon was throwing knees up the middle, stuff like that. But I thought Usman looked terrible in that fight. Awful. And in his next fight against Chimaev, everyone's going to remember that fight because you could maybe say it was close, but ultimately, Usman did nothing in that fight. Like, Usman did nothing, and Chimaev just did a little bit more. Because Chimaev had a great round 1, broke his wrist, and then in rounds 2 and 3, neither of them did anything. Like, they did nothing the entire 10 minutes of that fight. Like, outside of round 1, nothing really happened in that fight except for Usman landed 11 significant strikes in round 2 compared to Khamzat's 9. Usman landed 22 in round 3 compared to Chimaev's 13, but he got taken down for 2 minutes of the round. So, there just wasn't a lot going on. Chimaev had a broken wrist for the last 10 minutes of that fight, and Usman really couldn't do anything. And that was 2 years ago. So can I really expect a good Kamaru Usman here? Absolutely not. Like, if anything, he's going to look worse. There's no way he's going to look better. And I look at Buckley, he's surging. And stylistically, Buckley, I think, has way more finishing upside here. I think Usman, if he's going to get tagged by Buckley, at some point, within 25 minutes, he might just be like, you know what? We're done with this. I'm on a 3-fight losing streak. It might just be time to hang it up. So I think that's a high
possibility. He doesn't go out clean, right?
Exactly, if he doesn't go out clean. And I expect Buckley to hit him a lot. Like, Buckley's a pretty high-volume striker. Buckley lands 4.22, and he's a guy that uses his movement very, very well. He moves in and out. He moves laterally, circles the cage. Usman has always been somewhat of a plotty striker, and at 38, he's only going to get more plotty. So I don't think Usman's going to be able to find clean entries for takedowns. I don't think he's going to be able to out-physical Joaquin Buckley, who's a physical guy. So I just don't see many paths for an Usman victory here outside of, like, landing a knockout. I think if this fight goes to decision, I think it's Buckley all day. I know, some people might say, Usman by decision because that's how he normally gets it done. But I just don't see how he wins a lot of minutes in his current form. Like, he doesn't have the ability to throw a lot of significant strikes. He's not fast enough to throw and not get hit. I don't see him getting a lot of takedowns because he doesn't have the movement to get the takedowns. And I don't really see him out muscling Buckley here to, get him up against the cage and drag him down just off of pure physicality. Obviously he's got a lot of skills in the bag, but once you get older, those skills are harder to use. And also the thing as you get older is the cardio starts to fail you a little bit. And Usman's always had pretty solid cardio. What do they say? The CEO of EPO. Is that what Kobe said?
That's exactly what he said.
Yeah, okay. The CEO of EPO. But I think Buckley's cardio is solid, man. He's never shown me any way, where I could say that his cardio is going to fail him in a 5-round fight. He's never gone 5 rounds, but, he got the TKO finish in round 3 against Colby. got the TKO or the literally KO punch on Thompson. And he turned it up big time on Ruzaboyev in round 3 as well. So, I mean, I think this guy does build into fights. And I think eventually, as the fight moves on, Buckley's going to make Usman probably rethink where he's at in his career and might put him away.
Yeah, I could see the KO. Guys, over the age of 38 tend to get knocked out at a way higher rate. He's been KO'd before. Buckley can find the KO in any round, like you said. He was getting pieced by Thompson, stayed in there, still able to find the knockout blow, and Kamaru's not even nearly the striker as that. And his wrestling I think used to be a lot better before the knee issues really started to get to him, and then you could see it start to really decline. And I think where we really saw that was in the second Edwards fight.
Yeah. So Buckley's at minus 270 now. I mean, obviously, I had a huge bet on Buckley against Colby at minus 200. I felt amazing about that. I think this is a little bit tougher of a fight, but I think it's somewhat of a similar fight. Like Colby and Kamaru are pretty similar guys. I just think Kamaru probably hits a little bit harder, has a little bit cleaner striking, so maybe there is more chance for Usman to find a knockout. But I think Buckley, look, minus 800, minus 1,000 against Colby. So I think he clearly covered minus 200. I think he could easily look minus 500 or higher in this one. There was something I was looking at. I think Buckley can get a KO at plus 165, but the fight doesn't go at minus 150 is not bad. I might look towards what MMA Toad said, fight end by KO, just to cover, if Usman does catch him with something. Buckley's been knocked out a couple times, but I assume the fight to end by KO is probably going to be like minus 130 or something like that, because you look at the submission props here. Plus 2,000 for Buckley, plus 2,500 for Usman. Submission's not very likely, so maybe probably not even worth it to play fight by ends by KO at that point.
Yeah, I think most likely your best bet is just to play the Buckley KO.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's pretty much what you're forced to do at this point.
Yeah,
I actually don't mind plus 165. I was actually asked on live stream this week. I was like, what do you think the Buckley KO is gonna be? I was like, probably plus 120, plus 130. But they're getting you plus 165. I don't think that's that bad, dude.
Yeah. Leon Edwards, hadn't been on the greatest streak either, and maybe Hamzat just kind of gassed after trying to get the finish. So
gas, he broke his wrist too.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, that doesn't help, bro.
Buckley 3-4-5. Could be.
Who's to say that he doesn't come out there and start him in round 1 though? Like it just is
a
hard fight for me to bet.
Play the KO straight, but
I like it. I like the KO. I do think he could wrestle here though. Also, like I wouldn't hate him just coming out there and shooting a takedown in round 1. But Usman off his back is not good. So yeah.
What's Buckley? Jork coming in with the spreads.
Dude, do we get takedown numbers on this fight yet? Nah, right? But if you get
on the DFS, I actually played Usman under 2.5 takedowns.
Oh, that's fine. I'm cool with that. What do you think about Buckley over half a takedown? What are they giving you there?
They don't have a line for that. Okay. I think eventually, a lot of these sports will have those, but I do think it's a possibility for sure.
I'd look at that, and I would look at Loosa maybe also if it's anything like maybe. I think he gets like 2 takedowns in the first round if the fight gets to the grappling.
Yeah, he's at 2.5 right now.
That's that's right at the edge of where I think it's.
I know. If it was 1.5, I'd be all over it. I think you could easily get 2 takedowns in round 1.
It's the mat returns because I think Rowe's gonna get up, but he does a good job of locking the hands behind him. But yeah, this is a good fight, bro. Great card. Yeah, I like it.
We didn't make it to 100 likes, so we ain't giving out a parlay. We ain't giving it out. But if you want a parlay, you can join Parlay Madness on Thursday. I'll be on the live stream with Lucrative and JB. Should be a good time. But I appreciate y'all for joining tonight on the live betting breakdown. Hit the like button for us anyway. Subscribe to the channel. You can go follow and get all of JB's content wherever he tells you. You can tell him right now.
At MMA Jewish Bettor on X, on IG. If you want to get all my picks for free right now, you go to the Home of Fight Discord. You could sign up, And then you could also go ahead and get Ajay's pick for free. Not for free, but you can go and subscribe to him. And I was looking at this guy's DFS plays. You guys got to tap in just for the DFS alone. I think it's worth it. And that's something I'm trying to get into myself because there's money to be made in the DFS. People got to realize it. And also up, like 40 units this year, bro? Like, and it's not even halfway through the year. So
I think we're at 33 right now. Let me just double check.
In the profit, and what is it? June? So we're like halfway through the year.
35? No.
We go on a streak here, and my man might be up 75, could be 100 units by the end of the year. So,
yeah, actually, Buckley put me up over 100 units last year because he was the last fight of the year, and I had a huge bet on Buckley. So he put me up over 100 units last year to end 2024. So hopefully you can cash me in this week as well. We're positive 32.27 units so far in 2025, which is way ahead of where we were in 2024. So we're actually on a higher trajectory. And last year we still finished up over 100 units. So tap in there. You can get all the bets in the Home of Fight Picks Discord or the Home of Fight Picks Winnable. I'm cramping on my hamstring. I'm just trying to hold it back.
What? It's cramping, bro. 2-hour pod got my man pulling a hammy.
It was like just mid cramp, like almost got it. I just pulled it away before it finally got to a full cramp. But yeah, you can join the Home of Fight Picks Discord. You can get JB's plays for free. There's a link down in the description below to do so. It's going to be a good week. I'll be in Atlanta. I fly in on Saturday morning, and I'll be there for the fight. So if you're in Atlanta, hit me up. We can chop it up, and should be a good week. We got a lot of content coming to you on the channel. Stay tuned for that. Hit the subscription button so you don't miss it. Thank you, JB, for coming along onto the UFC Atlanta betting breakdown, and I'm sure you'll be back on the channel very soon. But we're going to hop out of here. Appreciate y'all. Until next time, we out.
Let's run it out.